time of the week. It's in training, pre-match games, post-match games itself, right? So it's really, really important that the time they're with you, they have a positive experience. Okay? And I'm not talking about all being PC and everything is rosy and all that, because life's not like that. Okay? But the way we behave sets an example to our children, as well as doing the right thing by them. Okay? So it's really, really important we understand that. So it's important that you parent them by you in a positive way. Yeah? So as I say, most experiences stay with us. And it's often the negative ones that we remember the strongest. Well, actually one of the, what I told you before about me being in the car with my dad, even though my dad, I wouldn't say he's the most positive guy, but he was like that father on there. He didn't push me as hard as that, but he wanted what was best for me. But he was just brought up that way. So that's the way his father brought him up, and so on and so on. Sometimes you've got to break that cycle, okay? And sometimes we've got to just think, hey, what's right? What is right? And I think deep down we know what's right. Right. So I'm just going to do this from the floor. I was going to do it by discussion before. We're just going to do it from the floor. Why do young people get involved in sport? So just stick your hand up and Jason will just write them down.
Parents.
Parents, yep. Yeah, I was brought up in a big family of rugby league players, so I was always going to play. Any other one children? Go on, you girls are not children, but you're young adults that have been children. Why'd you get involved in sport? What joy?
So it's fun?
It's fun.
Mates.
Yeah.
Fun.
Mates.
Experience.
Experience, yeah. Anything else?
Getting involved in the couch.
Yeah. Get in the movie. Yeah. So that's the parents encouraging them to get active.
As a place you can socialise?
Yeah. Interesting on that one. Today, I was up north and I was just driving, and there's a survey that came out from the university in America that was saying that children involved in team sports, actually it was teenagers involved in team sports, are more likely to develop the way we would like them to be developed, as far as not having any mental health issues, as you know, part of socialising and all that. So team sports play a big role in that, and that just came out today. Okay, so that was quite interesting. What else? Anything else?
Expectation that it will happen.
Yep. So you're expected to play. Yeah, I was expected to play. Yeah. I wanted to too. I was lucky. I wanted to as well.
To be a part of something cool, they want to be a part.
Yeah. You might watch the Warriors. You know, and you think, oh, gee, I wouldn't mind being like that. Yeah. Or you might see your favourite player, Billy Slater or Jonathan Thurston or whoever they were, now retired.
It's role modelled.
Yep.
So you see your parents and cousins and what they're doing.
Yep. That's cool.
Could be an escape.
Yeah. That's a good call. Could be an escape for some children. Anything else?
It's in my fridge actually.
What's that? Milk.
Dip.
Oh, shit, moan about that. Come on.
It's in my fridge.
What about developing skills?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good one. Okay. They want to be challenged, don't they? Yep. Yep, it's good for their confidence. Yeah. I'll stop with that because we can go on. Now, I'm glad that came up. Okay? That is the number one reason, fun, enjoyment, that children get involved in sport. Okay? It is the number one reason. in any survey that it's been going on for any surveys, okay? Sometimes we forget that. Yeah.
They wouldn't know it's fun until they get involved in the first place. Until they get involved in the first place.
I think they perceive it's going to be fun. It should be, you know what I mean? We shouldn't do anything that, you know, we're not forced to. Sometimes we are forced to. We talked about that, but when children are asked, that's what they say is the reason. Yeah, and obviously your goal as coaches, your job as coaches, to make sure it is fun. Yeah. So
But if you've got a child that is but she's already got that perceived idea that she's just like just doing it for the game or because I've been told to get.
yeah.
It's still going to take you a couple of weeks to try and bring her to flip her
Yeah.
around to make her realise that it is fun.
Yeah.
It's not something.
But if you're not making it fun, it's going to be worse for her.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So by making it fun, it's up to her how she takes it. You know, you can't control that to a large extent. Okay? But you don't want to make it worse. You don't want the situation to be worse. And sometimes we do that, right? Yeah.
Even if it's fun, what if her like mindset on that sport is just like she doesn't want to play? So even if you're trying to make it fun, it won't even work out because.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's something you can't control. There are ways, you know, the fun activities that you provide, all you can do is do your best, you know what I mean? Sometimes, and that's what I talk about right at the start, that there are a lot of things of our children that we coach that we can't control. And bad things happen, you know? But what we can control is what happens under our watch while they're with us. We can control that. And if we make that little positive difference, it snowballs. And I think whether you league, rugby, soccer, or whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. If we can get our part right, because all the social problems in the world, okay, we can't control that. So it's up to governments, communities, whatever, to control everything else. Let's get our part right, and then hey, slowly but surely, we make young lives better, don't we? Right? Now this is from Sport NZ, right? Okay, so this is coming from the governing body of sport in this country. Have fun. Okay, learn new skills, you mentioned that before, existing skills. Be with friends or make new friends. Be challenged. Experience success. Become physically fit and healthy. And just on this experience success, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on, success can be improvements or effort. Yeah? Do we agree? Okay? Okay. So as well as those reasons you said all those reasons that Jason just put up on the wall there, why they get involved, but this is some of the benefits of physical activity for young children. Okay, so physical health. I'll let you read that. So as well as helping to prevent heart disease, cancer, etc., okay? And the worrying stat really is the obesity rate for Māori children, okay, this is recent research, is 17%. Okay? And that's when the average for children is 12. It's higher for Māori. And for Pacifica children, they're at 30%. 30% more likely to be obese. Okay?
Sorry, how's that calculated? Because my son's like 33 kgs, but you won't see him, but he's only 6, and he's technically obese, but you won't see it like on.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I'm just dealing with facts that I've got off of the Sport NZ, okay? And I agree with you, and I'm not too sure how they put that together. But what I do know, when I look at photographs online on Facebook and all that, there's a lot of our Māori and Pacifica children are obese. they're carrying too much weight, okay? And physical activity is that's not on its own going to solve it, because there are dietary things, there are other things, but you can play a part in that just by being that positive role model. Hey, have you got your water? Instead of plugging Coke or something like that afterwards, about bringing a piece of fruit to training or something like that, And again, just doing what we can do, okay? I mean, there is a obesity problem. I understand what you're saying. Okay. Mental health. Obviously, the government are putting a big emphasis on their next budget tomorrow, apparently. So they should. I'll let you read that. And New Zealand has the highest rate of youth suicide in the developed world. Okay? Which is something we all have a responsibility to change. Okay? These are the benefits of the children that you're coaching being physically active. I think that when you've done something, that elevated mood can have an I can do it attitude. You feel good about yourself, you want to do something, and you go a long way to students approaching things as not obstacles, as challenges, when they're feeling good about themselves. And social. We just talked about that before. So, can you imagine what our communities look like if our physical, mental, educational and social areas improved as a result of kids being physically active? As I said before, they can sit at home and play on their PlayStations or whatever, they can do all that. But that's not going to help with all those things that we talked about. So not only are you creating fun for the kids, you're making them be part of a better community because they're healthier, basically. Healthier mentally, physically, everything. That's the real benefits, because that has an impact on their lives. Winning a footy game on a Saturday, really, in the big scheme of things, is not that important. But them being healthy is. And that's what you guys are doing. Okay. We'll do the same thing. Why did children stop playing sport? Bullied? Yeah. It happens, it shouldn't do. Discouraged? Yeah.
Too expensive?
Yeah, it can be expensive, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. They're afraid. Any reason why you said that? Like, is it?
Yeah, just some of our kids when they get tackled hard.
Yeah.
And also the confidence out of it.
What age group are you?
On the 6 and the 7s.
Okay. And I mean, I won't go into this too much, but it's a bugbear of mine too. Traditional games like rugby and league, they need to change, right? And I've said this to the Auckland Rugby League, mini and mod should be flag footy, right? And then mod should be a progression into tackle. What's the last year of mod? 12, yeah. So maybe under 10s, under 11s, you can start transitioning them into with your training sessions, and there'll be a program there halfway through the year to start introducing them to contact, right? And then in the final year of mods, they play maybe a full season under tackle rules. So by the time they're leaving that, going into the proper game, the 13-a-side game, they're more prepared and they're probably more confident because you can knock it out of them. That's a big thing there.
It was really hard to
Yeah.
get some confidence back in with my players.
Yeah.
I mean, like, passing the ball was like,
Yep.
they were running.
And mum and dad don't want them to get hurt either, right?
But another thing is they're putting kids that are older in these grades as well.
Yeah.
They see the experience and the players different.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got 4-year-olds on there as well.
It's a mismatch, eh? It's dangerous too.
Yeah.
You know what I said about at the start being safe? When you mismatch kids. I mean, I know, if you've got an 8-year-old that's, this big, and you've got one that's this big, there's not much you can do about it. If they're doing it by mixing ages, it's tough. I mean, I don't have the answer for everything, by the way, so.
Yeah, Union do rips from under 6 and under 7s.
Yeah.
So now they're introducing restricted weights.
Yeah.
Now, so 35 kgs is for under 8s, but then 40 kgs for under 9s. But that's kind of hard in our area because like they're like 40 kgs and I've got a skipper grade.
Yeah.
So that's what something they've introduced. But yeah, I totally agree with getting scared and so forth.
Yeah. But there's no easy answers in the solution.
Exactly.
But governing bodies have got to be bold and make some changes. Because I mentioned that to the Auckland Rugby League and it was like, oh yeah, but you know, they've got to be tough, you know, they've got to know how to tackle and all that. Well, it's no use them being tough and then we don't have any players to play with because they're too scared of staying in the game. You've got to change. You know, life changes. Life changes all the time. I was brought up as a 4-year-old and I was doing it all the time. But I'm wise enough to know that we can't continue that the way it was done before. Okay. Sorry, if you get your hand up, sorry.
Oh, no.
No worries.
Just real quick on the under 6, under 7. So at Cookie Pythons as a coach that does heaps of wrestling for the young ones. So they're used to the sore ear, body part in the face, but they start this close together. You know, tackle can be 5, 10, 15, 20, depending on the dynamic of the run. And she just gets them confident with touching distance. But pretty intense wrestling and tackling drills. But yeah, they're this close together when they start. And she did that for the first 4 or 5 weeks, and she just felt their improvement and their confidence lift when it came to tackling someone. Yeah.
But you
that
would...
was her. She just came up with that herself as a strategy because all the kids would cry and getting hurt and all sorts. She just thought, let's close the distance right up and get them real tough at being close together, so they're used to the scrapes and the awkward feelings on their body. Yeah.
But you would be happy with your children to play flag footy or ripper or whatever it's called? Or, yeah?
It's the same watch.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it won't build that fear.
Yeah.
Bit of confidence.
Yeah.
And
I
just real quick with Rough Roast Rugby, under 6, under 7, play ripper and rugby, and they are busting at the seams to play tackle and under 8. So, did you experience that?
Yeah.
They are ready to go.
Yes.
So they've got the confidence to
Yeah.
get and run and stuff, and then now we're under 7s, but you're not allowed to feed.
Yeah.
But like, man, it's just a natural thing coming, so that's obviously the next step.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's got.
It's quite interesting to
And when you get
experience
into
it.
the higher grades, especially because we're jumping grade too, like we've come out of the under 10s last
And yeah, I do see it with my boys too, where they played their heart out last weekend, but I think they would have seen the difference between the size of the players that they're playing, you know, and the tallness, even disregarding the dispensations that are in and around those players, you know, they still see them, and then shit, even one might come off with a broke their arm over the game as well, so I might take them off the run.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up. And as I keep saying to you guys about what you can control, unfortunately, you can't control how it's governed at the moment.
We can control, and we can forfeit the game now.
Yeah, yeah. If you feel your children are unsafe,
Yeah.
good, fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. The Cookie Pythons coach has 3-year-olds in the team, and she decided it was too dangerous. Even though the parents were like, "No, they'll be right." Nah, it's too dangerous. So they can train, but they can't play.
You know, and you're not going to be popular with everybody, but you're doing the right thing. Remember what I said about doing the right thing? Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll move on. I know there's other reasons, but okay. Is that just my eyes? Is that clear for you guys? Yeah. Must be my eyes. It's no longer fun. Okay. So the number one reason they get involved, it's fun. It's no longer fun. Is the number one reason. It's not a surprise, is it really? Lack of playing time. Okay. Kids sitting on the sideline. That's no fun. So the kids don't care if it's Stacey Jones or anybody coaching them. Okay, all they want is playing time. They must have playing time. And I know that's hard, but everybody deserves it. That's why they're there. Too much emphasis on winning. Okay. Well, I'll talk about this briefly, and I'll talk a little bit later on. But winning, you can still play well, okay, and lose. Do we agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. Okay, and the opposite as well. Right, we can probably, sometimes you can play poorly, you know? So it's like, if you put more emphasis on effort, and I mean genuine effort, because you don't want to just recognise something that's just, okay, just normal effort. If you've seen effort and you've seen improvement, that's when you can make a difference, okay? And that's where we should be. I mean, I don't know, many mods, do they do the score?
No.
They don't. So that's really, have you found that good? And have you been involved when they had scores? And has it made a difference?
I've never experienced taking
There's no
scores.
schools.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. So far back I go when we used to score.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's good. I'm glad that. Anybody else on that, on scores and that?
No, we don't, but some other clubs,
Do they
they
privately take it?
Yeah.
We just laugh just to
It's
know.
always fine.
There you go.
yeah,
But yeah, we're a there's also a conflict.
Oh yeah, let's get on.